PE teacher Lindsey Graham's hand trembled as she stared into the open school locker. What started as concern for a quiet student had turned into something far worse. The photos, the letters, and something even horrible hidden under gym clothes, they told a horrifying story no one had seen. Tears streamed down her face as she dialed 911, knowing the call would shatter lives forever. She'd spent weeks watching 15-year-old Anna withdraw from the world, but nothing prepared her for this moment. The truth was more monstrous than she could have imagined. Before we dive into this story, I'm curious, where are you watching from and what time is it there? Drop it in the comments below. Hit subscribe to catch every twist and turn. The gymnasium at Lincoln Middle School echoed with squeaking sneakers and teenage laughter. Dodgeball day was always chaotic, a symphony of rubber balls thwacking against walls, floors, and occasionally reluctant participants. Amid this controlled chaos, PE teacher Lindsey Graham's attention kept drifting to the same corner. Anna Watson sat alone, back against the wall, knees pulled tight against her chest. The 15-year-old's gym clothes hung loosely on her frame, her athletic shoes placed neatly beside her untouched. While her classmates darted across the polished wooden floor, Anna remained perfectly still, eyes fixed on nothing. This marked the 6th class in 3 weeks, where Anna had found a reason not to participate. First came forgotten gym clothes, then claimed dizziness, followed by a string of notes requesting exemption for vague medical reasons. Today she'd simply changed into her gym uniform, and then nothing. Anna? Lindsey approached, crouching to meet the girl's downcast eyes. Everything okay? Anna nodded without making eye contact. Just not feeling great today, Miss Graham. There was something in the girl's voice that tugged at Lindsey's instincts. After 12 years of teaching, she'd developed a sixth sense about troubled students. Anna had always been quiet but engaged. Average grades, a small circle of friends, decent athletic ability. Nothing exceptional, but present. That's what made her recent withdrawal so noticeable. She was fading before Lindsey's eyes. You know you can talk to me if something's bothering you, Lindsey offered. Another empty nod. Another averted gaze. Later that afternoon, Lindsey brought her concerns to the weekly staff meeting. Anna Watson? Smart kid, said Mr. Reynolds, the science teacher. Bit quiet lately, but her work's fine. Her English essays have gotten darker, Miss Patel noted. Principal Davis checked her computer. Attendance is slipping a bit, but nothing alarming. Parents haven't responded to my emails. Lindsey left the meeting unsatisfied. Schools were chronically understaffed. Teachers overworked. It was too easy for struggling students to slip through the cracks. That night, Lindsey couldn't shake Anna from her thoughts. Teaching wasn't just about physical education for her. It was about seeing students, really seeing them. She remembered her own high school years, when a teacher had noticed her troubles at home and become her lifeline. Sometimes one person paying attention made all the difference. The next morning, Lindsey arrived early and pulled Anna's file. Perfect attendance until 2 months ago. Honor roll last year, emergency contact listed as grandmother, not parents. A note about parents' recent separation, small details that painted a fractured picture. During third period, Lindsey spotted Anna in the hallway. The girl walked with her shoulders hunched, books clutched tight against her chest. When Coach Wilson passed by and touched her shoulder in greeting, Lindsey noticed something strange. Anna's entire body stiffened, her face flashing momentary panic before settling back into practiced blankness. It was subtle. Anyone else might have missed it, but Lindsey had been looking for signs. And that moment, that microsecond of fear, set off alarm bells. Something was wrong in Anna Watson's world, and Lindsey Graham was now determined to find out what. The third consecutive Monday without Anna in PE class became the tipping point. Lindsey checked attendance records and discovered a pattern. Anna had perfect attendance except for PE classes. She wasn't skipping school entirely, just avoiding the gymnasium and locker rooms. Wednesday brought a break in the pattern. Anna showed up to class but sat against the wall again, watching as her classmates played basketball. Lindsey noticed changes in the girl's appearance, dark circles shadowing her eyes, skin lacking its usual healthy glow, her hoodie zipped despite the gym's warmth. Halfway through class, Anna bolted suddenly from her spot, hand clamped over her mouth. Lindsey followed her to the bathroom, hearing retching sounds from inside a stall. "Anna? Do you need the nurse?" "I'm fine," came the weak reply. "Must be a stomach bug." But when Anna emerged, her face was ashen, eyes red-rimmed. She swayed slightly, steadying herself against the sink. "You don't look fine," Lindsey said gently. "Let me help you." "I said I'm fine," Anna snapped with unexpected force. Then, more quietly, "Sorry, Miss Graham. I need to go back to class." As Anna pushed past her, Lindsey caught a glimpse of something else. Fear. Not embarrassment or typical teenage irritation, but raw fear. The next day, Lindsey positioned herself near the girls' locker room before PE. Students streamed in, chattering and laughing. Anna arrived last, hovering at the entrance, visibly hesitant. When she finally entered, Lindsey followed discreetly. Inside, Anna selected a corner locker, far from the other girls. She kept her back to everyone, changing with unusual modesty, pulling her gym shirt over her regular shirt before removing the latter. Classic layering technique, one Lindsey recognized from her own teaching experience, a method used by students uncomfortable with their bodies or hiding something. 20 minutes into class, while supervising a volleyball game, Lindsey heard a thud. Anna had been walking across the gym when she suddenly collapsed, crumpling to the floor like a marionette with cut strings. Students gasped and gathered around as Lindsey rushed to her side. Anna's eyes fluttered. Consciousness returning as quickly as it had fled, she tried to sit up immediately. "Stay down," Lindsey instructed, kneeling beside her. "What happened?" "Got dizzy," Anna mumbled. "I'm fine."
"You fainted, Anna."
"That's not fine." As Lindsey helped her to a sitting position, her hand brushed against Anna's abdomen. The girl flinched violently, jerking away as if burned. In that brief contact, Lindsey had felt something, a firmness, a subtle change in the girl's normally flat stomach. A terrible suspicion began forming in Lindsey's mind. "I'm taking you to the nurse," she said, her tone brooking no argument. "No." Anna's response was immediate, panicked. "Please, I just need to rest." "Anna, this isn't optional. You fainted." In the empty hallway, with Anna leaning against her for support, Lindsey tried again. "Anna, is there something you want to tell me? Something that might explain why you've been feeling sick? Why you've been avoiding PE?" Anna's step faltered. For a heartbeat, Lindsey thought she might open up. Instead, tears welled in the girl's eyes and she whispered, "You can't help me. Nobody can." Before Lindsey could respond, the school nurse appeared in the doorway ahead, alerted by a student Lindsey had sent. The moment for confession had passed. But those 6 words, "You can't help me. Nobody can," haunted Lindsey for the rest of the day. They weren't just the words of a troubled teen. They were the words of someone who had given up hope. And Lindsey Graham refused to let that stand. The nurse's assessment was frustratingly inconclusive. "Low blood pressure, possibly dehydration," she'd said after Anna refused a full examination, keeping her clothes on and answering questions with minimal information. Lindsey wasn't convinced. After school, she knocked on Principal Davis's door. "Come in, Lindsey. How can I help?" Lindsey laid out her concerns. Anna's absence pattern, physical changes, emotional withdrawal, and today's fainting spell. Principal Davis sighed, folding her hands on her cluttered desk. "I appreciate your concern, but teenagers go through phases." Anna's parents recently separated. That's traumatic. This seems like more than teenage angst. Lindsey pressed. Something's wrong. Unless Anna tells us what that something is, or we see clear evidence of abuse, our hands are tied. We can't force her to talk. Can we at least call her parents? I've tried. Multiple messages. No response. The grandmother, who's listed as emergency contact, says the parents are going through a difficult time, and Anna is just being dramatic for attention. Lindsey left the office seething with frustration. The system designed to protect students was failing Anna in real time. That night, Lindsey couldn't sleep. Anna's words, "You can't help me," played on repeat in her mind. By morning, she'd made a decision. If the system wouldn't help, she would find another way. Lindsey created a detailed observation log. She adjusted her schedule to monitor hallways between classes, noting who Anna spoke with, her physical condition, and behavior patterns. She enlisted other teachers without explaining why, asking them to pay special attention to Anna in their classes. 3 days into her unofficial investigation, art teacher Miss Reynolds stopped Lindsey in the staff room.
You asked about Anna Watson?
I found something concerning. She slid over her phone, showing a photograph of a student art project, a dark, chaotic painting dominated by shadowy figures looming over a small, huddled form. Anna submitted this for our emotions project. When I asked what emotion it represented, she said trapped. A cold weight settled in Lindsey's stomach. Did she explain further? No, shut down completely, but her hands were shaking when she handed it in. Lindsey added the information to her growing file. The next day she approached Anna after class. I noticed you forgot your water bottle yesterday. I brought you an extra. Anna accepted it with a murmured thanks. Anna, I know something's going on, Lindsey said quietly. Whatever it is, you don't have to face it alone. For a moment, Anna's mask slipped. Her eyes, suddenly bright with unshed tears, met Lindsey's, then Coach Wilson's voice boomed from down the hallway. Anna, don't forget about our study session today. The transformation was instant and chilling. Anna's face emptied of emotion, her body tensing as she looked toward the coach approaching them. Mark Wilson had been at Lincoln Middle for 8 years, athletic director, history teacher, boys basketball coach, popular with students and faculty alike. I won't forget, Coach, Anna replied, her voice unnaturally flat. Good to see you taking academics seriously, Wilson said, placing a hand on Anna's shoulder. His smile was warm, but something in his eyes made Lindsey uneasy. We'll get those grades back up. As Wilson walked away, Lindsey noticed Anna's hands trembling.
He's helping you with schoolwork?
Lindsey asked carefully.
History. I'm failing. Anna's answers had become mechanical again.
I thought history was one of your better subjects? Anna's eyes darted nervously to Wilson's retreating form. I need to go. That afternoon, Lindsey sought out Mr. Jameson, the history teacher. How's Anna Watson doing in your class? Jameson checked his gradebook. Solid B+, one of my more consistent students. Why? The pieces weren't fitting together. Why would Anna need tutoring in a subject she was passing? Why lie about failing? Lindsey expanded her observation beyond school hours. She noticed Anna leaving the building late, long after most students had gone home. One evening, Lindsey stayed late grading papers and saw Anna hurrying to a car in the far corner of the parking lot, Coach Wilson's silver sedan. The next day, Lindsey requested Anna's complete schedule from the front office, citing concerns about the fainting episode. Anna had study hall during 7th period, supervised by Coach Wilson. She also had academic support sessions 3 afternoons a week, also with Wilson. That's when Lindsey made a critical decision. She wasn't just concerned anymore, she was suspicious. This wasn't just about a struggling student. The locked door to Wilson's office during those study sessions, Anna's physical symptoms, her avoidance of PE where changing clothes was required, the fear in her eyes when Wilson approached. Lindsey started documenting everything systematically: times, locations, behaviors. She researched mandatory reporting laws and school policies. If her suspicions were correct, Anna needed immediate intervention. But accusations against faculty required concrete evidence. Moving too soon could mean losing any chance to help Anna at all. "I'm not giving up on you," Lindsey whispered to Anna's empty desk after class. "Whatever's happening, it stops now." She just needed proof, and she knew exactly where to start looking. The girls' locker room was empty after final bell. Lindsey moved purposefully through the rows of metal doors, counting until she reached Anna's corner locker. She hesitated, ethical boundaries screaming in her mind. Teachers weren't supposed to search student lockers without authorization and proper cause, but the image of Anna's fearful eyes won out. Lindsey tried the locker handle, locked of course. She went to the PE office and found the master key, hands trembling slightly as she returned. The locker swung open with a metallic creak. At first glance, nothing seemed unusual: gym clothes, deodorant, a brush. Lindsey checked side pockets, finding only crumpled assignments and hall passes. Then her fingers touched something hard at the bottom, beneath a wadded sweatshirt. A diary. Small, with a floral cover, its lock broken. Lindsey's conscience warred with her concern. Reading a student's private thoughts crossed a serious line, but if Anna was in danger... She opened to a random page, dated 2 months earlier. "He says I'm special, different from other students. He understands me when no one else does. Says he can help with everything. School, home, everything. No name. Nothing explicitly inappropriate. Can't tell anyone. They wouldn't understand. He says people would try to keep us apart if they knew how close we've gotten. Said we need to be careful." The entries grew darker, more troubled. "I made a mistake. I should have said no. Now I'm trapped. He says no one will believe me anyway, that I wanted it too." Lindsey's stomach clenched. She kept reading, hands shaking. "Missed my period again. Scared. He says I'm imagining things, being dramatic. But what if I'm not?" The final entry was from just a week ago. "It's true. Took test. Positive. Told him, and he got angry. Said it's my fault, that I must have been with someone else. Then he changed. Said he'd take care of everything. Making plans. Says we might need to leave town for a while. I'm so scared." Lindsey closed the diary, her worst fears confirmed. She carefully returned it under the sweatshirt, hands trembling. She was about to close the locker when she noticed something else: a small paper bag pushed into the back corner. Inside, an empty pregnancy test box and a crumpled receipt for a pharmacy 20 miles away. The evidence was overwhelming. 15-year-old Anna was pregnant, and every indication pointed to Coach Wilson as the father. The academic support sessions, the late afternoons alone in his office, the isolated meetings, the psychological manipulation, classic predatory grooming behavior. Leaving the locker exactly as she'd found it, Lindsey returned to her office and called the school counselor. "I need to make a report about a student in danger," she said, struggling to keep her voice steady. "What kind of danger?" asked Miss Torres. "I believe a student is being sexually abused by a staff member and is now pregnant." Silence stretched across the line. That's a serious accusation, Lindsey. Do you have evidence? Enough to warrant immediate investigation. You know we need to follow protocol. Document your concerns in writing, then we'll convene the crisis team to... By then, it might be too late. Lindsey interrupted. The student's diary mentions plans to leave town. Whose diary? How did you access a student's private? That's not important right now. What matters is protecting this child. The conversation went in circles. Protocol, documentation, proper channels, due process. All important under normal circumstances, but these weren't normal circumstances. A child was being abused, and bureaucracy was standing in the way of protecting her. The next morning, Lindsey arrived early, determined to catch Anna before classes started. She found her at her locker, looking exhausted. "Anna, can we talk privately?" Lindsey kept her voice gentle. Anna glanced nervously down the hall. "I have to get to class." "It's important. Please." In the empty PE office, Lindsey closed the door and took a deep breath. "Anna, I know something's very wrong. I believe someone is hurting you, and I want to help." Anna's face drained of color. "You don't know anything. I know you're afraid. I know you're pregnant." The girl gasped, backing toward the door. "You went through my locker? I was worried about you." "Anna, what Coach Wilson is doing is wrong. It's criminal. He's an adult in a position of authority." "You don't understand." Anna's voice cracked. "He loves me. It's different with us." That's what predators always say. They isolate their victims, make them believe they're special, that it's a real relationship. It is real. Tears spilled down Anna's cheeks. "And now you've ruined everything." She bolted from the office. Lindsey followed, but Anna disappeared into the crowded hallway. By lunchtime, Anna hadn't shown up to any classes. When Lindsey checked with the front office, she learned Anna had been signed out by her grandmother for a family emergency. The knot in Lindsey's stomach tightened. She'd mishandled the confrontation, pushed too hard. Now Anna was gone, possibly with Wilson, and it was her fault. That afternoon, Lindsey approached Principal Davis again, this time with her detailed documentation. The principal's expression grew increasingly grave as she reviewed the evidence. "Why didn't you bring this to me immediately?" she demanded. "I tried telling you something was wrong. You said without clear evidence, your hands were tied." "This is different. This is—" Davis trailed off, staring at the diary excerpts Lindsey had copied. "We need to contact authorities right now. Anna's already gone. Signed out this morning." "By her grandmother? Let me call her." The call confirmed Lindsey's worst fears. The grandmother had not signed Anna out. Someone had forged the signature. Anna and Coach Wilson were both missing. Protocol finally gave way to urgency. Principal Davis contacted police while Lindsey tried Anna's cell phone repeatedly, straight to voicemail. She searched social media for clues, finding nothing. Hours passed in a blur of police questions, searches of Wilson's office and home, interviews with other students. By nightfall, there was still no sign of either Anna or Coach Wilson. As officers combed through Wilson's phone records and bank statements, Lindsey returned to where it all began, Anna's locker. Maybe she'd missed something, some clue to where they might have gone. This time, the locker was almost empty. Gym clothes gone. Diary gone. But tucked into a corner was a folded pamphlet for Mountain View Motel, 3 towns over. Inside, scribbled in the margin, was tomorrow's date and a room number. Lindsey's hand shook as she dialed 911 again. Time was running out. Tomorrow, Anna might disappear forever. Detective Ramirez spread photos across the interview room table. "We found these in a hidden folder on Coach Wilson's laptop." Lindsey averted her eyes from the images of Anna and other unidentified teenage girls. Her stomach churned with rage and heartbreak. "How long has this been happening?" she asked. "According to file dates, Wilson's been targeting students for at least 5 years, Ramirez explained. Anna appears to be his most recent victim, but there are photos of at least 4 other girls. And nobody noticed? For 5 years? Predators like Wilson are experts at hiding in plain sight. Respected, well-liked, above suspicion. They choose vulnerable victims and isolate them. Lindsey thought back to all the times she'd seen Wilson with students, his mentorship praised by parents and colleagues alike. The signs had been there, subtle but present, if only someone had been looking closely enough. "What about the Motel Lead?" she asked. "We have officers stationed there now. If they show up, we'll intercept them." "And if they don't?" Ramirez's expression darkened. "We're monitoring highways, airports, bus stations. But if they've already left the state..." The unfinished sentence hung between them. If Wilson managed to take Anna across state lines, the situation would become even more complicated and dangerous. Lindsey couldn't sit still. After leaving the police station, she drove to Anna's home. The modest house looked abandoned, with newspapers piled on the porch and an overflowing mailbox. Anna's parents' separation had clearly left gaps in supervision, gaps that Wilson had exploited. As she sat in her car, Lindsey's phone rang, an unknown number. "Miss Graham?" Anna's voice was barely a whisper. Lindsey's heart raced. "Anna, where are you? Are you safe?" "I don't know what to do," Anna sobbed. "He's changed. He's scary now. Says we need to leave tonight, not tomorrow." "Anna, listen to me. You're in danger. Tell me where you are." "Mountain View Motel, room 16. He went to get food. Please hurry. I'm scared. I'm calling the police right now. Lock the door and don't let him in." "What if he hurts you too? He said he'd hurt anyone who tried to separate us." "Let me worry about that. Just keep yourself safe." Lindsey immediately called Detective Ramirez, then drove toward the motel, heart pounding. The 30-minute drive felt eternal. She couldn't wait for police. Anna needed someone now. The Mountain View Motel was a single-story building with peeling paint and flickering neon. Room 16 was at the far end. Lindsey parked out of sight and approached cautiously. No sign of Wilson's car. She knocked softly. "Anna, it's Miss Graham." The door opened a crack, revealing Anna's tear-stained face. The girl looked even worse than before, pale, exhausted, terrified. "He'll be back any minute," Anna whispered, letting Lindsey in. The room was sparse. 2 bags packed by the door, fast food wrappers on the desk, a rumpled bed. Anna sank onto the edge of the mattress, arms wrapped protectively around her midsection. "How far along are you?" Lindsey asked gently. "Almost 3 months." Anna's voice was hollow. He said we'd go somewhere new, start fresh, that he'd take care of me and the baby. And nah, that's not going to happen. What he's done is criminal. He's manipulated you. I thought he loved me." Fresh tears spilled. "He said I was special, different from other students. Then I got pregnant, and everything changed. He got so angry, so controlling." Headlights swept across the window. Wilson's car. "Hide in the bathroom," Lindsey urged. "Lock the door. Don't come out until I say it's safe." Anna hesitated. "What are you going to do?" "What I should have done weeks ago. Now go." Anna disappeared into the bathroom as car doors slammed outside. Lindsey positioned herself by the window, phone ready to record, heart hammering. Where were the police? The door swung open. Mark Wilson froze in the doorway, take-out bags in hand, eyes widening at the sight of Lindsey. "What are you doing here?" he demanded, voice dangerously low.
"It's over, Mark."
"Police are on their way." Wilson's charming facade crumbled. "You have no idea what you're interfering with. Anna and I have a special relationship. She came with me willingly. She's 15 years old. She can't consent. You're her teacher. She's mature for her age. She understood what she was doing." He stepped closer, menace in every movement. "And now you've ruined everything. You ruined everything the moment you targeted a child." Lindsey stood her ground. "The police found the photos, Mark. All of them. Anna isn't your first victim." Something shifted in Wilson's eyes, calculation replacing anger. "We can work this out. Think about the school, the scandal. Anna's already traumatized. A trial would only hurt her more. Save it for your lawyer. Lindsey glanced at her phone. No sign of police arrival messages. She needed to keep him talking. How many others were there before Anna? A cold smile. Jealous? Is that it? You saw what Anna and I had and wanted it for yourself? The bathroom door creaked. Anna stepped out, face streaked with tears. Stop lying. You told me I was the only one, that what we had was special. Wilson's expression softened instantly. Baby, of course you're special. She's trying to come between us. I saw the pictures, Anna said, voice stronger now. On your phone, girls in your office, in your car. I wasn't the first, I was just the latest. Anna, don't listen to her. Remember our plans? Our future together? Wilson reached for her, but Anna backed away.
You said you loved me.
Anna's voice cracked. But you were just using me like all the others. Lindsey stepped between them. It's over, Mark. The police know everything. Wilson's face contorted with rage. He lunged forward, grabbing Lindsey's throat. You couldn't mind your own business. Anna screamed as Lindsey fought back, knocking a lamp to the floor. Through the window, flashing lights finally appeared in the parking lot. Police! Shouted voices outside. Open up! Wilson's grip loosened. In that moment of distraction, Lindsey twisted free and shoved him backward. The door burst open, officers rushing in with weapons drawn, hands where we can see them. Wilson raised his hand slowly, all menace gone, replaced by the practiced charm that had fooled everyone for years. Officers, there's been a misunderstanding. Save it. Detective Ramirez interrupted, handcuffing him. Mark Wilson, you're under arrest for statutory rape, child exploitation, kidnapping. As they led Wilson away, Anna collapsed into Lindsey's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I thought he loved me. I didn't know what to do when I found out about the baby. Lindsey held her tight. This is not your fault. None of it. He manipulated you. But you're safe now. Outside, red and blue lights painted the night. Wilson sat in the back of a police car, the mask of the beloved coach finally stripped away. The road ahead would be difficult. Investigations, statements, medical exams, decisions about the pregnancy, healing from trauma. But for now, Anna was safe, and Lindsey had finally found the proof she needed, not just of Wilson's crimes, but that sometimes breaking rules was necessary to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. 3 days after Wilson's arrest, Lincoln Middle School resembled a battlefield. News vans crowded the parking lot. Parents demanded answers at emergency meetings. Students whispered in hallways, sharing rumors and fragments of truth. Inside Principal Davis's office, Lindsey faced a different kind of battle. The school board has concerns about your methods, Davis said, not meeting Lindsey's eyes. Searching a student's locker without authorization. Confronting Anna without proper protocols. Going to the motel alone instead of waiting for police. I saved her life, Lindsey countered. If I'd followed every protocol, Anna might be gone. Your actions put both you and Anna at risk. And now the school faces potential lawsuits from parents. They're asking how Wilson's behavior went unnoticed for so long. That's the question we should all be asking. 5 years, at least 4 victims before Anna. We failed those girls. Davis sighed heavily. The board is considering administrative leave while they review your conduct. Are you serious? Wilson grooms and assaults multiple students, and I'm the one being punished. It's not punishment, it's procedure and temporary. Lindsey stood, anger rising. While you follow procedure, I'll be supporting Anna. She has no one else right now. Outside, a small group of teachers waited. Miss Torres, the counselor, approached first. How's Anna doing? Physically stable. Emotionally devastated. Her parents finally returned from wherever they were, but they're barely coping themselves. And the pregnancy? Lindsey shook her head. She hasn't decided what to do yet. She's only 15. No child should face these choices. News of Lindsey's potential suspension spread quickly. By afternoon, teachers had organized an impromptu meeting in the library. "This is wrong," Miss Patel insisted. "Lindsey should be commended, not punished." "The board is worried about liability," Mr. Reynolds explained. "They're in damage control mode." "Meanwhile, we're learning Wilson's abuse went back years," Miss Torres added. "Some former students have already come forward. The oldest case dates back to his first year here." Lindsey felt sick. How did we miss this? All of us? "He was careful," Torres said. "Chose vulnerable girls with absent parents, groomed them slowly, used his position and charm to build trust." "The signs were there," Lindsey insisted. "The private meetings, the favorites, the special attention. We saw what we wanted to see, a dedicated teacher mentoring struggling students." That evening, Lindsey visited Anna at her grandmother's house, where she was staying temporarily. The girl looked small in oversized pajamas, curled on the sofa with a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. "The police want me to make a statement," Anna said quietly. "Describe everything that happened. I don't know if I can." "You don't have to do it alone. I'll be there if you want." "What if people don't believe me? What if they think I wanted it?" "The evidence is clear, Anna. The photos, the messages, his history with other students, and you're a minor. You couldn't consent, legally or emotionally." Anna twisted the blanket between her fingers. "My parents want me to end the pregnancy. They say I'm too young, that it would ruin my life. What do you want?" "I don't know. Everything's happening so fast. 2 weeks ago, I thought we were running away together. Now he's in jail and everyone knows, and She placed a hand on her stomach. "I never thought my life would be like this." Before Lindsey could respond, her phone rang. Detective Ramirez. "We searched Wilson's home computer," he said, without preamble. "Found evidence he was planning to take Anna to Mexico. One-way tickets, fake IDs, the works. She wouldn't have come back." The implications hit Lindsey like a physical blow. Human trafficking, exploitation, or worse. "There's more," Ramirez continued. "We found a storage unit in his name, more photos, journals detailing his relationships with students, and communications with other men like him, sharing techniques, advice on grooming vulnerable girls." After the call, Lindsey sat in stunned silence. The depth of Wilson's predation was worse than she'd imagined. This wasn't one man's crime, but a network of abuse, and without Anna's desperate phone call, they might never have uncovered it. The next morning, Lindsey arrived at school to find Principal Davis waiting. "The board has reconsidered your situation," Davis said. "In light of new evidence from the police investigation, they've decided against administrative leave. I appreciate that, but my methods haven't changed. I still broke protocol." Sometimes protocol fails the very people it's designed to protect. Davis handed her a folder. "This is a draft of new safety guidelines we're implementing. Stricter oversight of one-on-one student interactions, anonymous reporting systems, trauma-informed training for all staff. We'd like your input." It was a small victory in a war that was far from over. Wilson's case would take months to resolve. Anna's healing would take years, and the school community would need to rebuild trust and safety from the ground up. But for the first time since finding Anna's diary, Lindsey felt a flicker of hope. Change was possible. Systems could improve. And sometimes, one person refusing to look away could make all the difference. Lindsey stood before the open metal locker, hand trembling as she held her phone to her ear. The evidence inside had confirmed her worst fears and broken her heart simultaneously. Anna's locker contained everything needed to build a case against Coach Wilson. Beyond the diary and pregnancy test, Lindsey had found a burner phone filled with inappropriate messages, a hotel key card with tomorrow's date written on it, and a small bag containing cash and what appeared to be fake identification papers. Wilson had been planning to take Anna away permanently. The realization hit Lindsey like a physical blow. 911. What's your emergency? The dispatcher's voice sounded distant in Lindsey's ear. My name is Lindsey Graham. I'm a teacher at Lincoln Middle School, she managed, voice cracking. I need to report a sexual assault of a minor and possible attempted kidnapping. Tears streamed down her face as she described what she'd found. The dispatcher asked practical questions, names, ages, evidence, while Lindsey tried to maintain her composure. Officers are on their way, the dispatcher assured her. Is the student with you now? No, Lindsey realized with growing horror. Anna's been absent today, and when I checked attendance, Wilson called in sick too. Try not to disturb any evidence. Officers will need to document everything exactly as you found it. After ending the call, Lindsey sank to the floor beside the open locker, overwhelmed by the weight of her discovery. How had Wilson hidden this for so long? How many warning signs had been missed by the entire school community? More importantly, where was Anna now? Lindsey scrolled through her phone, finding Anna's contact information. Her call went straight to voicemail. She tried Anna's home number next, hands shaking so badly she misdialed twice. A gruff voice answered, Anna's father sounding irritated. Mr. Watson, this is Lindsey Graham from school. Is Anna home today? She's with her grandmother. Some kind of doctor appointment. Which grandmother? Do you have her number? What's this about? Suspicion crept into his voice. Lindsey chose her words carefully. It's important I reach Anna immediately. It's an urgent school matter. After reluctantly providing the number, Mr. Watson added, Don't know why you're calling anyway. Anna said she was dropping PE this semester. The statement hit Lindsey like ice water. Lincoln Middle School didn't allow students to drop required courses mid-semester. Another lie in Wilson's complex web of manipulation. When Lindsey called the grandmother, another shock awaited.
Anna?
She's not with me, the woman said. She's at school, far as I know. She hasn't been at school today. Her father said she had a doctor appointment with you. Silence stretched across the line. That doesn't make any sense. I haven't seen Anna in weeks. Cold dread pooled in Lindsey's stomach. Anna was missing, likely with Wilson, and no one had even noticed she was gone. By the time police arrived, Lindsey had pieced together more of the timeline. Wilson had been systematically isolating Anna for months, creating alibis, forging notes, manipulating her schedule. The school's fragmented communication systems and Anna's troubled home life had created perfect conditions for predation. Detective Ramirez examined the locker contents with gloved hands while Lindsey explained everything she knew. The motel key, she pointed out. Mountain View Motel. That must be where he's taking her. We'll send officers immediately, Ramirez assured her. But you need to prepare yourself. They might not be there yet, or they might have already left. I can't just wait here, Lindsey insisted. Anna trusted me. I was the only one who noticed something was wrong. This isn't your fault, Ramirez said gently. Predators like Wilson are experts at hiding in plain sight. That doesn't help Anna now. As police photographed evidence and sealed off the locker, Lindsey made a decision. Protocol and procedure had failed Anna at every turn. Waiting for the system to work might mean losing her forever. While officers were distracted, Lindsey slipped away. She knew exactly where Mountain View Motel was. 3 towns over, just off the highway, the kind of place that didn't ask questions or require ID. The kind of place where a man could take a teenage girl and disappear. As she drove, Lindsey called Anna's phone repeatedly, praying for an answer. On the 8th try, someone picked up, not Anna, but Coach Wilson. "You should have minded your own business," he said, voice chillingly calm. "Where is she, Mark? What have you done with her?" "She's where she belongs, with someone who understands her. Not stuck in that school with people who never saw her potential." "The police know everything," Lindsey warned. "They're on their way to the motel right now." A pause. Then a soft laugh. "You think you're so clever, but you're too late." The call disconnected. Lindsey pressed the accelerator, racing against time and her own fears. She'd broken every rule in the book, potentially jeopardized the case, and put herself in danger. But none of that mattered if it meant saving Anna. Mountain View Motel emerged from the darkness like something from a nightmare. 12 rooms in a row, crumbling stucco, a flickering vacancy sign casting sickly blue light across the empty parking lot. No police cars yet. No sign of Wilson's sedan either. Lindsey pulled around back, heart pounding. She'd called Detective Ramirez from the road, updating her on Wilson's threatening call. The detective had ordered her to wait for backup, but every minute felt like an eternity with Anna's life at stake. Room 16, the number on the key card from Anna's locker. Lindsey approached cautiously, staying close to the wall. No light visible under the door. She pressed her ear against the thin wood. Silence. She had no weapon, no authority, no plan beyond finding Anna. What she did have was the element of surprise and the righteous fury of someone who had watched a predator operate unchecked for too long. Lindsey tried the door handle. Locked. She hesitated, then used the key card she'd taken from Anna's locker. The lock clicked. Heart hammering against her ribs, she eased the door open. The room was dark, except for ambient light from the parking lot filtering through thin curtains. Lindsey could make out 2 bags on the floor, fast food wrappers on a table, rumpled sheets on a queen bed, but no people.
Anna?
She whispered, stepping further into the room. "Are you here?" Something moved in the corner, a shadow separating from darkness. Lindsey fumbled for the light switch. Anna sat huddled in the far corner, knees drawn to her chest, eyes wide with terror and confusion. "Anna, are you hurt?" Lindsey rushed to her, crouching to check for injuries. "He went to get the car," Anna whispered, voice trembling. "Said we needed a different vehicle. Police might be looking for his."
"We need to go. Right now."
Lindsey helped Anna to her feet. The girl moved stiffly, clutching her abdomen. "Can you walk?"
I think so.
"I don't feel good." Anna's pale face was streaked with tears. "He changed when you called. Got scary. Said we had to leave immediately, that you'd ruined everything. We'll talk about everything later. Right now we need to get you somewhere safe." They had barely reached the door when headlights swept across the window. A car engine cut off outside. "It's him," Anna whispered, freezing in place. Lindsey pushed Anna behind her. "The bathroom. Lock yourself in. Don't come out no matter what you hear." "What about you?"
I'll be fine. Go.
As Anna disappeared into the bathroom, Lindsey grabbed the room's desk chair, wedging it under the doorknob. It wouldn't hold long, but might buy precious seconds. She pulled out her phone to call 911 again, but the screen showed no signal bars. Footsteps approached outside. Then a sharp knock. "Anna, open up. We need to move." Lindsey remained silent, searching desperately for anything to use as a weapon. The footsteps retreated briefly, then returned. "Anna, I know you're in there. Don't make this difficult." Wilson's voice had lost its charm, revealing the cold calculation beneath. The door handle twisted. Then came a solid thud as Wilson threw his weight against the door. The chair held, but barely. Another thud. Wood splintered around the hinges. A third impact, and the door crashed inward, chair skidding across the floor. Mark Wilson stood framed in the doorway, surprise registering on his face at the sight of Lindsey.
You.
He spat. Always interfering. Where is she? It's over, Mark. Police are on their way. Wilson stepped into the room, closing the broken door behind him. In the dim light, Lindsey could see sweat beading on his forehead, his eyes darting around the room. They don't understand what Anna and I have, he said, voice almost conversational. No one does. Not her parents, not the school. Only I see her potential. You mean you saw her vulnerability, Lindsey countered, maintaining distance between them. A girl with absent parents, struggling with self-esteem, the perfect target. Wilson's expression darkened. You think you know everything. You have no idea what we mean to each other. I know you've done this before. Other girls before, Anna. How many, Mark? How many children have you manipulated and abused? Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. Special connections are rare. Sometimes you have to search a long time to find someone who truly understands. They were children. You were their teacher. Age is just a number. Emotional maturity is what matters. Wilson moved closer. Now where is she? Somewhere you'll never hurt her again. His hand shot out, grabbing Lindsey's throat. I'm done playing games. Where is she? The bathroom door creaked open. Anna stepped out, face pale but resolute. Let her go. Wilson released Lindsey, turning to Anna with a practiced smile. Baby, we need to leave. Now she's ruined our plans. Stop lying, Anna said, voice stronger than Lindsey had ever heard it. I heard everything about the other girls, about what you've done. They didn't matter. You're different. Wilson reached for her, but Anna backed away. You said that to all of them, didn't you? That they were special, different, that you understood them when no one else did. Anna, we don't have time for this. You are going to take me to Mexico. I saw the tickets in your bag. Anna's voice cracked. What were you really going to do with me? With our baby? Wilson's face contorted with fury. There is no our baby. You think I want to be tied to a child? The pregnancy was your mistake, not mine. The truth hung in the air between them, stark, cruel, undeniable. In that moment, the illusion of love Wilson had carefully constructed shattered completely. Anna's eyes filled with tears. You said you loved me. I said what you needed to hear, what all of you need to hear. Wilson's mask had slipped entirely, revealing the predator beneath, so desperate for attention you'll believe anything. Lindsey moved to Anna's side, placing a protective arm around her shoulders. You've lost, Mark. Even if you ran now, police have everything they need, your computers, your storage unit, testimony from other victims. Wilson lunged forward suddenly, grabbing both women and shoving them against the wall. No one is testifying against me. No one. From outside came the sound of sirens, distant but approaching. Wilson's head snapped toward the window. His grip loosened momentarily. Enough for Lindsey to shove him backward with all her strength. He stumbled, tripping over one of the bags on the floor. Run! Lindsey pushed Anna toward the door. They burst into the parking lot just as police cars swarmed in, lights flashing. Detective Ramirez jumped from the lead vehicle, weapon drawn. Down on the ground. Now. Lindsey pulled Anna behind a police car as officers rushed the motel room. Seconds later, they emerged with Wilson in handcuffs, his face twisted with rage. As they loaded him into a police car, Wilson locked eyes with Anna one last time. You'll regret this, he called. No one will believe you. You wanted it too. Anna trembled against Lindsey's side, but her voice was steady when she responded, I was 15. You were my teacher. I couldn't consent, and you knew it. The police car door slammed shut, cutting off whatever Wilson tried to say next. Detective Ramirez approached them, holstering her weapon. Are you both all right? Anna nodded shakily. I think so. "I need to get her to a hospital," Lindsey said. "She's pregnant and in distress." As paramedics guided Anna to an ambulance, Ramirez turned to Lindsey. "You directly disobeyed my order to wait for backup. I couldn't risk losing her. You could have compromised this entire case, not to mention put yourself in extreme danger." "Would you have done any differently?" Lindsey asked quietly. "If it were your student?" Ramirez's stern expression softened slightly. "That's not the point. But no, probably not." Before joining Anna in the ambulance, Lindsey looked back at the motel room site of the final confrontation in a battle that had been brewing for months. Wilson's mask had finally dropped, revealing the monster beneath the beloved coach persona. In that ugly moment, Anna had seen the truth: not love, but calculation; not passion, but predation. It would be a long road to healing, but tonight, Anna had taken the first step. She had faced her abuser and recognized his manipulation for what it was. And despite everything, she had found her voice. That, Lindsey thought as the ambulance doors closed, was its own kind of victory. 6 months after Coach Wilson's arrest, Lindsey sat on a bench outside the county courthouse, waiting. The spring air carried the scent of blooming dogwoods, a stark contrast to the winter darkness when they'd found Anna at the motel. The courthouse doors opened. Anna emerged, flanked by her grandmother and a victim advocate. At 16, she looked both older and younger than her age, shoulders straighter, eyes wiser, but with vulnerability etched in the set of her mouth. Her pregnancy had ended in miscarriage weeks after Wilson's arrest, a trauma that had brought both grief and relief. "How did it go?" Lindsey asked as Anna sat beside her. "They say the plea deal is fair. He'll serve at least 15 years. Anna twisted the friendship bracelet on her wrist, a nervous habit she'd developed during therapy. 3 other girls testified about what he did to them. One was from 5 years ago when he first started teaching. "How do you feel about not having to testify at a full trial?" Anna considered the question. Relieved, I guess, but part of me wanted to face him, to tell my story. "You already did the hardest part, breaking his hold over you that night at the motel. Everything since then has been you reclaiming your power." They sat in comfortable silence, watching people come and go from the courthouse. So much had changed in 6 months. The school district had implemented comprehensive new policies to prevent teacher-student grooming. Anna had transferred to a new school for a fresh start. Lindsey had become an advocate for abuse prevention education, speaking at teacher conferences across the state. The investigation into Wilson had revealed a pattern of predation dating back to his first teaching job. 7 victims ultimately came forward, each with similar stories: isolation, special attention, declarations of unique connection, followed by escalating abuse. Miss Patel said, "You're being considered for Teacher of the Year," Anna mentioned. Lindsey smiled. "Hard to believe, considering I nearly got fired for breaking every school policy in the book. You saved my life." Anna's voice was soft but certain. "If you hadn't noticed something was wrong, if you hadn't kept pushing when everyone said to follow protocol, I don't know where I'd be now." "You saved yourself too, Anna. You were brave enough to call me from that motel, brave enough to stand up to him when it mattered most." Anna looked down at her hands. "I still have nightmares sometimes, about what might have happened if we'd made it to Mexico. That's normal. Trauma doesn't disappear overnight. My therapist says the same thing, that healing isn't linear." Anna brushed hair from her face, revealing a small semicolon tattoo behind her ear, a symbol of continuation, of a story not yet finished. Some days are harder than others. Lincoln Middle School had changed dramatically. Principal Davis had resigned, acknowledging the systemic failures that allowed Wilson's behavior to continue undetected. The new principal had instituted mandatory training on recognizing grooming behaviors and implemented anonymous reporting systems for students. Most importantly, a culture of paying attention had emerged, teachers checking in with withdrawn students, questioning unusual patterns, and taking children's discomfort seriously rather than dismissing it as teenage dramatics. "The support group starts next week," Anna said, "for the other girls, and for anyone else who needs it." Anna had turned her trauma into purpose, working with counselors to create a peer support network for abuse survivors. Her story, shared with permission and appropriate privacy, had opened a floodgate of similar disclosures throughout the district. "Will you still come speak?" Anna asked. "Wouldn't miss it." Lindsey checked her watch. "Your grandmother's waiting. Want a ride home?" As they walked to the parking lot, Anna paused. "There's something I haven't told you. I applied to that summer program for students interested in education." Lindsey's heart swelled with pride. "The teaching fellowship. Anna, that's wonderful. I want to be the teacher I needed when I was younger. Someone who notices things, who doesn't look away." In the months since Wilson's arrest, Anna had slowly rebuilt her life, returning to school, reconnecting with friends, working through trauma in therapy. The road hadn't been smooth. There had been setbacks, days when the weight of what happened threatened to overwhelm her. But there had also been growth, resilience, and unexpected strength. Anna wasn't defined by what Wilson had done to her. She was defined by how she had survived it. "You know what my therapist says?" Anna continued as they reached the car. "She says trauma changes your brain, but healing does too. Every time you face what happened, every time you choose to move forward despite it, you create new pathways, new possibilities." Lindsey thought about the frightened girl she'd found in that motel room and the young woman standing before her now. The changes weren't just internal, they had rippled outward, transforming an entire school system, saving future potential victims. "I still have the key to that locker," Lindsey admitted. "Kept it as a reminder." "Of what?" "That sometimes doing the right thing means breaking the rules, that systems are important, but people matter more." Anna nodded, understanding. "And that sometimes one person paying attention makes all the difference." As they drove away from the courthouse, leaving Wilson and his crimes behind locked doors, Lindsey glanced at Anna, damaged but healing, scarred but surviving. The monster hadn't won. And though the story would always be part of Anna's life, it wouldn't be the whole story. Just one chapter in a life still unfolding, with many blank pages yet to fill. That's the end of the story. Did Lindsey do the right thing by breaking protocol to save Anna? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Hit subscribe for more powerful real-life stories. Our next video reveals a shocking secret you won't believe.